the 13th Annual World Finals of Drag Racing, the most dynamic display of automotive rolling thunder on Earth. It's head-to-head, one-on-one competition in three major categories you're watching here at the end of the day from the Ontario Motor Speedway's quarter mile. And in those categories, first it's the pro stockers. Those are the very twitchy, short wheelbase, highly unpredictable machines. It'll be Indiana's Bob Glidden versus Atlanta, Georgia's 50-year-old dyno Don Nicholson. Next come the ultimate family fantasy flivver. These are the funny cars, capable of over 230 miles per hour, and the competitors will be Gordy Bonnet of Canada and the many-time world champion, the Snake, Don Prudhomme. Finally, the heavyweights. The top fuel dragsters will be driven after a day of upsets by Dennis Baca of the United States and Graham Light of Canada. I'm Ken Squire here in the starting line area, and down at the finish line, that's the area for Brock Yates.
Thank you, Ken. You know, the really unique thing about big-time professional drag racing is the fact that these drivers, although they compete over a distance little more than a long city block in length, generate more pure emotion than a lot of the drivers that compete in the Indianapolis 500 or in a major Grand National stock car race. Down here at this end of the racetrack, beyond the finish line, we'll get a chance to see the cars running really quickly. They attain their highest speeds down here, and of course they're at the most unstable state. Pretty dangerous. We're going to try to talk to some of the winners and the losers. We're not exactly sure what they're going to say, but I'll guarantee you one thing. Amidst the tears and the cheers, we're going to be able to tell who won and who lost.
Make no mistake about it. Although it starts and ends in a hurry, it is as dangerous as any form of motorsport there is. Take a look at this.
This is Southwest champion from the Magnificent 7, Division 7, Rance McDaniel of Fresno, California, about 215 miles per hour here, and he detonates the engine. The big V8 coming unglued, and he has 2,000 horsepower strapped to his back that's about to become an inferno. Brock?
Ken, this looks very dangerous, but fortunately it's not as bad as it might have been. In the old days, these engines were up front, in front of the driver, and in that case, McDaniel would have been sitting in a barbecue pit right now. But despite how spectacular the blaze looks, he's relatively safe.
Now let's talk about what can stop this machine with that kind of problem.
Okay, if the engine explodes, it could blow out one or both of the rear tires. That's trouble. Also, he's having trouble getting the chute deployed, and he only has brakes on the rear wheel, and he's going to have some trouble getting this thing stopped.
Well, he was able to get it stopped down in the first turn area of this Ontario Motor Speedway. We're just about set now. Rance McDaniel's all right after this hazardous moment in qualifying. We're ready now for the pro stockers.
Well, here they are, the world finalists and pro stockers at the Ontario Motor Speedway. On my right from Indiana, Bob Glidden. On my left is dyno Don Nicholson out of Atlanta, Georgia. Have you two faced each other before this year, Bob Glidden?
Yes, we met in the finals at Indianapolis.
And how did that come out?
I won that one.
You won that one. Are you ready to try and get him again today?
Yeah, I hope I got a surprise for him. We just put a new engine in, and I hope it'll run better than we've been running.
Now, because of low ET, you can choose the lane you want. Which lane will you elect?
I'm not going to tell him that until we come up the stage.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I guess all I get is what's left over.
All right, here we are, ready for the World Finals among the top men in pro stockers.
1,320 feet to decide it all in the World Finals. dyno Don Nicholson in a Mustang. And this is his adversary pulling up on the outside lane, Joe Satmary from a qualifying round. Let's see how Nicholson made it to the final. Satmary, Hammond, Indiana, Camaro, and there's Nicholson, the driver out of Atlanta, Georgia. Countdown. Staged. Gone. And Nicholson immediately shows his weight right out in front. Pretty much stock automobiles, but capable of developing 600 horsepower. Second round. Manchester, Division 1, Northeast champion from Westport, Massachusetts, is up against Nicholson. These were the quarterfinals now. Nicholson on the outside lane, Manchester on the inside lane. Ronnie Manchester comes off the line just a tad quicker than Nicholson, but he is overhauled, and Nicholson just shoves this car away from Manchester to win the quarterfinals with a speed of 156 miles per hour. Semi-final round. Frank Iaconio of New Jersey on the outside, closest to the camera. Nicholson, this is it to make it into the championship. On the start, Iaconio out in front. But coming up around is Nicholson, and watch this head-to-head battle that saw Nicholson win by a matter of feet when they went through the eyes. Again in slow motion, Iaconio on the far side, closest to the camera. Nicholson makes his charge. How about that, Brock?
This is unbelievable, Ken. Dino Don looks like he's headed for the trailer. He just looks like he's a loser until the very last few feet. That's a display of raw top-end horsepower and a lot of poise from this veteran.
So there he is, going back to make some last-moment adjustments before the grand finale. And now let's take a look at how Bob Glidden made it into the finals. The Whiteland, Indiana campaigner faced first among the top 16 Richie Zool of Arlington, Texas, and Amanza. As you can see, he finished 7th in the world standings a year ago. Staging area and ready for competition. Ready for the start. First round eliminations among the world's top 16 in pro stockers. And out in front and just pulling away is Bob Glidden. Glidden in a Ford Pinto, hitting 157 miles per hour. Quarterfinals. And this is Larry Lombardo, defending world champion out of Melbourne, Pennsylvania. Glidden versus Lombardo. And it's almost no contest, as it looked like Lombardo was off to a great start, but back came Glidden to win the quarterfinals. 157 miles per hour, and he had to deploy the chute to bring her down. A lot of come-from-behind efforts out here today, Brock.
This, again, is just an example of big horsepower down there in the eyes at the end of the quarter mile where it really counts, Ken, and obviously Glidden and Nicholson have it.
This was the semi-final round. It was Ewell of Reno, Nevada outside, briefly in front. Then Glidden makes his move. He's up on the inside, goes out in front, and he wins. Ewell's Camaro eliminated as Bob Glidden reaches 157 miles per hour, 8 and 59 100ths of a second. Watch again in slow motion here. Nearest to the camera, that is Bob Glidden of Whiteland, Indiana. His Ford Pinto just charging out in front and taking command. So now we're ready. This is it, the grand finale in pro stockers for this year. Up to the line, Nicholson and Glidden. And as we look at it here, they move around that water. We're not allowed to use anything but water to heat up those tires. Back into it. Get set. There's the Glidden machine. Bob Glidden, Ford Pinto, remember 600 horsepower, they run on gasoline, gets those tires as sticky as he can, and what is considered one of the fastest drag strips in the world, if not the fastest, here at Ontario, California. Okay, it pays your money, you take your chance here. It's Nicholson versus Glidden, World Finals, Pro Stockers from Ontario, California. This is the car of Bob Glidden. Away into competition in the grand finale. It is Glidden out in front of Nicholson. Glidden on the far side is pulling away. He's going to win this by over a car length. Bob Glidden wins in the World Finals for Pro Stockers here in California. A tremendous run for the Whiteland, Indiana campaigner in his Ford Pinto, defeating Nicholson in a Mustang. Let's watch again at the start. Almost no question from the very beginning. Glidden getting out in front, getting through the gears, and coming to the line to win by just about 1.5 car lengths. Here's Brock with a winner.
Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
Made it look easy, huh?
It wasn't easy, but
The old man's hard to beat any time, isn't he?
He definitely is. He is really doing a fine job for a 50-year-old man. So he is.
Let's hope we all do that when we get there. How did it run? Tell me exactly how it ran all the way down.
Well, we knew that when the air cooled down, we'd run a little bit better. I'm sure Dino ran good, too. But I don't know exactly what we ran, but I'm sure it's our best numbers yet.
Yeah, you did. I think it's low ET unofficially. Tell me about the run specifically, from start to the beginning and carry me down the racetrack.
Well, there was none of this psych on the starting line deal. Dino really didn't know what lane I was going to take. We decided to take the left lane, thinking it was a little better. I went ahead and staged first because there has been a lot of burn downs this year on the starting line, and apparently we left on a good light. The car hooked real good, and it was an excellent run. You know, it was just a good straight run.
Congratulations, Bob Glidden.
Bob Glidden wins in the World Finals for the Pro Stockers. Here they come, the ultimate fantasy cars, and the man to beat is this man here, Don the Snake Prudhomme. Here at the 13th Annual World Finals of Drag Racing in Ontario, California, you're watching Bill Shrewsbury make this Dodge Dart stand on its hind legs and bark at about 116 miles per hour. One of the extra attractions here today, along with these three great final races of the year. Right now, Brock Yates is standing by with one of the competitors we're about to see in funny car competition, the three-time world champion Don Prudhomme.
Don Prudhomme, this has got to be kind of a strange afternoon for you. Three absolutely perfect, identical runs at 6:06, and yet no real competition. Two singles and a man that broke. What does that do for you going into the finals?
Well, it's okay with me. Of course, you know, we'll accept it any way we can get it. Our car's been run real consistent, and the main thing is that the track is in such good condition, and our car is too, until we just run it the same every round, and that's what it runs, and drive it the same. So it isn't very that difficult right now. But of course, going into the last round with Bonin, we'll have to see.
Let's follow how Don Prudhomme made it to the grand finale today in this funny car world final. His first opponent, John Lombardo, had trouble, did not come off the line. And notice how Prudhomme just keeps going for quickest elapsed time, so he'll have the choice of lane in the next round, which will be the quarterfinals. That put him up against Trip Shoemake of Phoenix, Arizona. But notice, Shoemake's machine also had mechanical malfunctions and had to roll away from the line. Once again, a solo performance for Don Prudhomme. The Snake striking at 6 6/100ths of a second for the quarter mile. Then came the semifinal round against Jim Adolph, Selmore, California. The Snake coiled a strike in his Plymouth against another Plymouth driven by Jim Adolph. He's been out of competition about a year. This was the semifinal. Lurching toward speed, Adolph's car seems to be smoking the tires and then comes up with a box of neutrals, and Don Prudhomme is into the grand finale. 3 straight runs at 6:06 for Don Prudhomme. His opponent in this grand finale will be Gordy Bonin of Edmonton, Alberta. Brock spoke with him.
What do you do against a guy like Prudhomme? You know that he's hard to psych, he's ultra cool. I know you are as well. Are you going to go up to the line and do anything that you might not do with somebody else?
No, I'm just going to try to run my own race. You can't psych him. He's the best, and we're trying hard to, you know, to be number one, and it'll be another year or two anyway, because he's just, you know, let's face it, he's the best. We're going to just go up and run our own race.
Let's follow the path of young Gordy Bonin in this Pontiac into the finale of this funny car world finals. His first run was against Bob Pickett of Granada Hills, California, in the Mickey Thompson Oldsmobile. And right at the start, Pickett had trouble and had to roll away from the line. Mechanical problems, but going for as good an elapsed time as possible was young Gordy Bonin of Edmonton, Alberta.
6:19, not quick enough to catch the Snake, Ken.
Back came the Thompson automobile, 1,900-pound fiberglass body, which lifts up with relative ease to discover what went wrong with Pickett's effort. Now we're looking at the quarterfinals. The competitor for Bonin is Gary Bergen, former national champion. He had low ET, elapsed time of 6 4/100 Burnout on Bonin's car, getting those tires just as sticky as possible and cleaning off any residue from coming up to the line.
Look at that bounce, Ken. That's just a question of the big, soft, low-pressure tires at the back. Only about 4 or 5 pounds per square inch tire pressure.
Now watch in slow motion as Bonin came up to that line and got this burnout underway. They use water now. They used to use bleach, but only water is allowed according to NHRA rules at this time.
Very hot inside those cars. Very, very difficult to drive. Very twitchy, very treacherous automobiles.
Funny car competition. This was the quarterfinal round. Bonin versus Bergen. Using that handbrake, burping that engine, cackling. This is Bonin coming to the line, closest to the camera. Gary Bergen on the outside lane.
What a peak of emotion is building inside those two cars now. This is an incredible moment for these men.
World Finals underway, quarterfinal round. You can see the winner is Bonin, as there were problems all over the place for Gary Bergen. First, he had some tire spin about 200 or 300 feet out from the tree, the Christmas tree starting light, and then at the end, he unhinged an engine.
Yeah, he got a little sideways coming down here about the 8th mile mark. There he is, just a little bit. He may have gotten back out of it and then had to get back on the throttle again, and then suddenly broke down here near the end. So he was in trouble all the way.
Bonin by 2.5 car lengths. Semi-final round. This is TV Tommy Ivo of Burbank, California, a quarter century in drag racing. This has been his best performance in 25 years.
What a story for Tommy Ivo. Been in this business, probably made more runs in drag racing than any man alive. And yet, he's never won a major title. This is his closest try at a victory. And you know this is a big moment for him.
This was the semifinal round for a guy who started as a child actor at the age of 4. And his car acted up right at the start, and Bonin was away to win in the semifinal round and qualify himself to run against the 3-time world champion, the Snake, Don Prudhomme. There's Bonin's crew elated about seeing him in the World Finals here in Ontario, California. And now we are ready for the biggie, the finals, World Finals here at Ontario, California, pitting the 3-time world champion, the veteran, Don Prudhomme, against Gordy Bonin, the youngster.
Just raw horsepower and concentration now. There's, imagine these guys are going to run roughly around the distance of the track on most high school football fields, Ken, and they're going to do that in just over 6 seconds. An incredible performance.
The old 440 in 6 seconds. There he is, the challenger, Gordy Bonin, the 3-time world champion on the inside lane. On the start. Prudhomme is in trouble, smoking his tires. He's trying to make a comeback, but Gordy Bonin has won it. Gordy Bonin has pulled the upset in the final round of the 13th annual World Finals for 20 cars, almost running out of track there before he finally got it locked down. Gordy Bonin and a static crew. There's Sid Waterman, the engine builder for this crew that comes from Canada. They are thrilled. And in the background, you can see the truck going down the road to pick up the vehicle that has just pulled the upset of upsets here. The 3-time world champion, Don Prudhomme, has been unseated here in the final round by a youngster. Again in slow motion. Let's watch what happened. Coming off the line, Prudhomme had trouble. You can see his tires smoke just briefly. He makes a good comeback, but not quite enough. Let's go to Brock Yates with the winner.
Congratulations, Gordy. Excellent. Looked like a pretty hairy stop down here. Was that the worst part of the run?
Yeah. No, I was not shutting it off early that time. I didn't know where he was at. I saw him for the first second, then he was gone. Our thing laid down about half track, and I drove it till I didn't see any more racetrack. And the thing was okay in the start line. We were running all 8 cylinders like we tried to do, but the thing laid down here, and I just, whatever happened to him, I'm glad it did.
Were you behind when he had the trouble?
Well, I just saw the nose of his car, and then it just dropped off.
Congratulations, Gordy Bonin. I'm sure it's a beautiful day in Alberta.
Gordy Bonin pulls the fast one in the World Finals for funny cars. Coming up next, the ultimate, the heavyweights, the top fuel competition. Direct from Ontario, California, the 13th Annual World Finals. Ready now for the top fuel dragsters with Brock Yates and Ken Squire. And this is John Abbott of Denver, Colorado, who had the best ET in the qualifying rounds. Only 16 machines qualified for the World Finals, and his elapsed time, his ET, was 5 and 88/100ths of a second. Here you see him coming back to the line after warming up those tires and preparing for his first run in the finals, one of the elite 16 to make the round. His opponent is Rick Ramsey. And watch what happened here. Lights on the Christmas tree. Flicker one to another and then to green. And on this start, away goes John Abbott, leaving Ramsey behind. But that's not the end of this story. John Abbott jumped the timing light. Red was flashed on. A foul, disqualified from the run. There's the start once again, and you can see Ramsey smoking his tires and losing, and yet he comes out the winner. A heartbreaker for John Abbott and Brock Yates Stockton.
Johnny, you are a fast qualifier. You obviously were way up, and a red light starts this thing off. How do you exactly, what goes through your mind when something like that happens so quickly?
I don't know. I don't believe it. I just don't believe I did it.
What would prompt you to do that? Was it just over-eagerness, or you must have felt you could beat this guy?
Yeah, I did. I did. I don't know. I just don't know. I thought I left right, but I guess I didn't. I must have staged too deep or something.
Is it a learning process? Is it something you can profit by, or is it just a flat mistake?
It's just a mistake. Flat mistake.
Okay. Fast qualifier Johnny Abbott out very quickly in this event. One sad young man.
Let's now meet the finalists for top fuel dragsters. Here is Brock Yates with Graham Light.
You seem pretty cool. Are you a man that gets psyched, or do you keep yourself pretty much under control? Do you feel the driver's going to be an element in this problem?
I try to stay cool. You know, I'm nervous just like everybody else when we go into it. Dennis Bach, there's no way you're going to psych him. He's been doing the thing for years, and I don't think he can get to me. I've been driving for years too, so see what happens.
Here's how Graham Light ascended to the finals in top fuel dragster competition. His first opponent, Hank Johnson from Marysville, Washington. You're watching Graham Light prepare this 2,000 horsepower nitro burning machine for his first run among the top 16. That's Light. Johnson. At the start line, focusing all their concentration on those lights. Out of the hole is important, and out comes Johnson first. Graham Light on the near lane breaks through at the final moment as he goes out around Hank Johnson to win in the first eliminations. 5 and 92/100 seconds the first round. Second round, quarterfinals now. It's Light against the all-time veteran Don Garlitz, who's won more top fuel titles than anyone in the history of the game. At the line, the focus of attention, those starting lights. Garlitz on the far side goes out in front. Graham Light pours it on and surges into the lead to pull an upset. Still another upset here in the World Finals of drag racing. Watch again as Don Garlitz goes out in front, but Graham Light on the near side goes on to win by almost 1 car length. Here's Brock with a loser.
Don Garlitz, this is kind of a capstone to what's been a very difficult week. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been a tough week, Brock. We've had a lot of work to do and had a lot of trouble.
Did your finger that you hurt last weekend have any effect on the performance here at Ontario?
Well, it slowed me down in the work in the pits for sure, and of course there's been some pain, but I'm not making any excuses.
How does it feel to come into a place where you have been undefeated in 3 other events and to lose this early in the going this afternoon?
Well, nobody wins forever, right? Somewhere you got to get beat, and it was a good fast car, and We were running good. We were set for him. I was way ahead. It was a long time before he passed me. Something went away in the number 3 cylinder. It just quit firing. I don't know what particularly, but it went out.
Don Garlett's defeat in the quarterfinals made it in the semi, this semi-round, Canadian against Canadian. Terry Kapp against Graham Light. Now watch this staging area sequence. At first light on top is the pre-staging light. And when the machines move online, those bicycle tires move into the staging area, a second set of lights comes on. And then the starter can snap the button and send them on their way. Semi-final round, and out in front, it was briefly Terry Kapp, and then Graham Light surged on as Kapp had an engine go away. 6 7/100ths of a second for the quarter mile. And watch again how Graham Light made it to the finals. He smoked the tires at first, then makes a comeback, and that means that Graham Light will face Dennis Baca in the World Finals here in Ontario. Here's Brock 8 with Dennis Baca.
Dennis, you've been known as a man inclined to maybe do a little psyching out there in the line on occasion. The man you're going up against has never been in a final of this kind of magnitude. Are you is that gonna change your tactics? Can you make a little move on him at all to break his concentration?
No, I don't intend to do that. I'm just going to go out and run. Actually, this may sound confident, but I guess I have to be a little confident. I run a 584, 585 last run. We got low ET of the meet, top speed of the meet. We've probably got 2/10 on him, so I don't really need. I feel that I have to have any psychology or to try and divert his way of thinking or driving. However, I'm just going to go up there and drive to win.
And here's how he drove his way into the World Finals. Dennis Baca against England's Clive Skilton. First round eliminations among the top 16 as they started up through their brackets. And out in front goes Dennis Baca as Clive Skilton gives him a good run, but he beats him by about half a car length. The time of 6 1/100ths of a second, 243 miles per hour. Again, watch this run. How about this, Brock Yates?
Well, this is indicative of the kind of competition that these really, really good top fuel drivers are capable of. They just drive right through to the finish line every time, and you just can't let up for a 100th of a second.
Through the eye of the needle, that electronic eye that times these machines at the end of the quarter mile. Richard Tharp was next, quarterfinals out of Dallas, Texas, to face Dennis Baca.
Look at those machines. What prehistoric monsters they remind one of. They're just incredible, just pouring out horsepower from all sides. It's magnificent mechanical monsters.
Dennis Baca's machine on the near side. The far side was Richard Tharp. This was the quarterfinal. Out of control, almost in bad trouble, was Richard Tharp, and again Baca victorious. Let's take another look at that run, which almost spelled disaster for both of them, Brock.
Yeah, Tharp was very, very definitely in real trouble. He was probably just a quarter of a second away from pulling a chute that is the court of last resort and brings him back into stability. But he was in trouble.
Well, here it is. The semi-final round. It's Shirley Muldowney from Michigan, world champion, the only woman to hold a license in top fuel dragsters. She's certainly proven herself. She's up against Dennis Baca. And here is how it went for Shirley Muldowney. Don't call her Cha-Cha. A little psyching going on here. Dennis Baca has switched lanes at the final moment. He has moved to the near lane. He's allowed to do that. He had the lowest elapsed time, and he can make the choice that may have broken Muldowney's concentration. They are away. And surging out in front at the last moment, it is Dennis Baca to move into the finals. It looked like something happened to Muldowney's car after she had a very good start. 5 84/100ths of a second for the quarter mile. Here's that start once again. Muldowney on the outside, got out in front, and then back comes Dennis Baca to win it, and that means that Dennis Baca will face Graham Light. Let's go to Brock Yates right now with an angry Shirley Muldowney.
I know there was something on the line.
There was a difference in the lanes, obviously. Dennis took his choice twice. waited till the cars were fired and then pulled right in front of me and took the other lane.
What difference does it make in your tactics? What would you do if you'd had the choice?
Well, already looked at the line.
Right.
We picked our spot. We picked our spot already, and we had to do that twice because he changed his mind twice.
You're a lady that really works on concentration in racing. How did this tend to break your concentration?
Not one bit, because I left on him on the start line.
Okay.
Ken, Shirley's mad at Dennis for the tactics on the line, but it wasn't the cause of her loss. She obviously had mechanical problems.
Well, here they are coming to the line. This is it, the grand finale. The top fuel dragsters rolling out. The competitors from Canada, it is Graham Light. And from the United States of America, Dennis Bacco, ready to battle it out.
Dennis Bacco nearest to the camera. Boy, what a day this could be. And there's problems. There are problems on Graham Light's machine. It is being rolled back, and he's taking off those fireproof gloves. After coming all this way, the Canadian Graham Light is going to be left standing at the altar. A terrible break. He's adjusting his helmet now to take it off. The machine is being rolled back. Dennis Bacco will have to make the run, but it's predetermined. All he has to do is come through the quarter-mile block, and we have a new finalist to win it all here today in the World Finals.
He's going all the way, though. He's going hard. That's impressive, Ken. He didn't have to. He could have coasted down through there, but he'd stayed on it all the way. Look at that time.
5 97/100ths of a second for the old 440, as Dennis Bacco has won in the World Finals, and there you see the machine. Let's go to Brock Yates right now with the winner, Dennis Bacco.
We've got Dennis Bacco here. Dennis, the end to a perfect afternoon.
Got to wait till I get my helmet off. I can't talk. Okay, go ahead.
The end of a perfect afternoon, right?
Yeah, I'd say it was a very good afternoon.
You were totally confident. We talked to you earlier. You said you're going to do it.
I really was. What did I run that run, by the way? 5:98? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, you know, we had it under control.
No problem. Had it all the way, right?
Listen, as I said before, you never win till you cross the finish line, and I never underestimate my opponent.
I think there's some guys here that are fairly happy. All right. One happy man. That's the end of things down here at the finish line, Ken. It's been a beautiful, safe afternoon of racing and a lot of jubilation. But now it's over. People are heading on back to the pits. Back to you.
Well, Graham Light, a long way to come for disaster right at what could have been the brink of your greatest success.
Well, that's true, Ken. You know, it's one of those unforeseeable things. In the burnout, the car broke an oil line. It's nobody's fault. But we were happy to get into the final. You know, we could have lost first round, or maybe we couldn't even qualify. So we're happy. The funny car went out in front of us and won. And we were hoping for an all bubble-up win here, but we were runner-up, and that's the way it goes.
What's the emotion that you go through when you come from Edmonton, Alberta, and you've worked your way through all these eliminations and come right down to the moment, and then it's all for naught?
Well, you're kind of disappointed, but, you know, I'm happy to be in the final. There was a lot of tough competitors here. A lot of tough cars didn't even qualify. On the way up, we beat people like Hank Johnson and Don Garlitz and Terry Kapp, and I mean, these people run super, you know. We tried to look at the attitude that was just another round, you know, just another car to race, and just continue what we've been doing, and maybe we can beat him too. And we'd obviously like to have won, but we're happy to be runner-up.
Well, we're awfully sorry you didn't get a chance to make it down to the other end of this quarter-mile strip. But the attitude of Graham Light to us represents the attitude of everything we've seen here in watching these 13th Annual World Finals. These people care, and they're sensitive, and they're great competitors, and it's been one great time for us to cover for the first time for CBS the 13th World Finals of Drag Racing. For Brock Yates, I'm Ken Squire. Better luck.